What is going on at Aston Villa? It's been 10 or 11 days since the playoff final, and it was bad after the playoff final, but in the last couple of days specifically, it has just gone downhill. Yesterday, about 5 o'clock, which was the 5th of June, Aston Villa released an official statement saying that Keith Wyness, the Chief Executive Officer of Aston Villa, had been suspended with immediate effect. What's that about? Came out the blue, that did. No one expected that. Although things were that bad, no one expected anything like that to happen. Obviously everyone was really confused, which we are already because the club have said pretty much nothing since the playoff final. Tony's been very quiet. Also yesterday on Twitter and social media, it had come out that Villa had failed to pay an approximately £4.2 million tax bill. How can a professional football club just fail to pay tax unless there is something seriously wrong? Now, this tax bill hadn't been paid to Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, HMRC. And people like Radio WAM and the Birmingham Mail have said that the suspension of Keith Wyness and this tax bill are no way related. Isn't that a little bit fishy that these two things have come out on the same day and they're not related? In terms of what Villa has said since the playoff final, that statement yesterday about Keith Wyness is so vague. It's just one line saying it's been suspended. All us Villa fans are in the dark. We're so confused. We've got no idea what's going on. And the club, Tony, Keith themselves have said absolutely nothing. I've also seen other things about Dr. Tony that reports have said that he does have the money to pay this tax bill, but he's struggling to get it out from China. His money is, obviously he's got a lot of money, he's got companies like Recon, but he's just struggling to get the money out of China. It's locked away for some reason and he can't get it out to pay these things like tax bills. Based on this, there's been reports that Tony's tried to get loans in to pay for this, and getting loans in is extremely risky with the interest and things like that, and loans can spiral out of control. In terms of this tax bill, there is reports that it will be paid by the end of the week in the next couple of days. And if it's not, the club could face administration and going into the National League and things like that. It's just, since 10 days ago, us potentially being 90 minutes away from the Premier League and getting 100 million and buying whoever we wanted, to this, it's just gone downhill, hasn't it? It's just spiraled out of control. Everyone's just confused, no one knows what's going on, we're all in the dark. As of the 6th of June, Wednesday, which is today, it's been reported that Aston Villa Football Club have launched an investigation to Keith Wyness and the whole tax thing. In terms of selling the club, there's been reports that Tony wants to or doesn't want to, no one knows what's going on there either. And there's been reports that he wants to sell it to a man called Peter Freund, who is a pawn in New York Yankees. And he's started to follow Aston Villa Football Club and various Aston Villa fan pages on Instagram, which is a bit strange. There's been lots of reports over whether Villa do want to sell the club or don't want to sell the club for a figure of around £75 million, which is just over, I think, what Dr. Tony paid for it. And if there is a new owner, maybe financial fair play will be a little bit more lenient on them. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I've seen people say things like that. But we need to get a buyer first. Even if we are looking to sell, we need to look for someone. And who's going to walk into this mess, to be fair? There's loads of theories about what's happened to Keith Wyness and what's happened between Keith Wyness and Dr. Tony. And one of them is that Keith Wyness was trying to set up a consortium to sell Villa, but without telling Dr. Tony, and Dr. Tony obviously wasn't happy about this and sacked him or suspended him, which is one of the theories. There's lots of theories flying around. Obviously no one knows what's going on. It's just a confusing situation that Villa find themselves in at the moment. Obviously all I'm saying now is what I'm finding off various reports on Twitter of places I can trust, not, you know, various sources that we can't trust and we know we can't trust. So I'm just basing this all off journalists that I know and can trust and stuff. This whole thing is extremely serious by what I'm seeing, and I can't see any way in which we get around this where we don't have to sell people like Jack Grealish, like James Chester, Jonathan Codger, these players that are actually worth something. And we just can't keep, especially people like McCormack and Micah Richards on 50 grand wage bills, which is absolutely ridiculous for this level of football. And for people that aren't playing, Micah Richards hasn't played in about 2 years, I think, and he's on 50k a week. That's ridiculous. As I said, with those ridiculous wages, I can't say I didn't expect something like this to happen. Obviously not this serious or to this extent, but you know, Micah Richards, Gabby as well, just these people in the Championship on ridiculous wages. It's just mad. Anyway, this video was just to update people who maybe haven't seen all the things on Twitter and stuff Obviously, we're all in the dark. We just got to see what happens. And this transfer window is going to be a lot of change. Don't know if we're going to sign any players, sell any players. As I've said, I think Grealish will go. People like that. Anyway, we'll all be there at the start of next season. Whether we'll still be in the Championship or liquidated to the National League South, who knows? But we'll still be there day in, day out, watching the Villa. Just watching the World Cup now, just taking a break over the Villa over the summer, just enjoy that. And just hope that something happens to the Villa that's positive. Because it seems like there's been a curse on this club for 7-8 years now. It's just a shambles. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. It's all a bit negative, but it doesn't matter. I'll see you soon. Up the Villa.
Still I get my money, still I get my money. You still acting funny, you still acting dummy.